Hi, everyone. Thank you once again for the new discussion on the topic called Travel API Selection. Let me share my screen so that we can get this started. So, today, what we're going to do is we're going to understand more about Travel API Selection. As you know, in travel business, we are just buying the inventory from the suppliers and selling to our clients. That's the whole concept. So, buying and selecting the right travel supplier is one of the most important thing, and that's where the API selection comes, because as we are entering into a era of technology, it's all about what inventory, what rate you have. The better rate you have, better supplier you have, you will be able to get the market in a better way. So let's find out what is the whole concept of finding the right API, and how it will be processed. Now, before I go into giving you an understanding about the selection process, let's understand what is Travel API, how does this work, so that you will be able to understand the whole concept in a better way. So, what is an API? So, if you see on my screen here, uh, Travel API is, in general, it's a set of programming code, just a language. It's a coding technique where it has been written as an API. Now, the important point, if you see in my screen here with the diagram I have showcased, it's a programming code that helps you to do the data transmission between a software product A or to a software product B, right? So it's nothing else. It's basically a communicator on transferring the information from one software product to another software product. It's like kind of medium to interact with each other. The way, as I am in India, we speak Hindi, and if in Gulf people speak Arabic, and in other countries people speak their native languages. So to communicate with each other, we speak English so that the other person is also understanding and I'm also understanding. So it's like when I need to exchange, do the data transfer, an API comes in picture. With the help of an API, any software A can transfer the information to the software B, and software B can transfer the information to software A. Now, there could be multiple things like one-way API, two-way API, where you are not only pushing the information, but you are also receiving the information. That again, different concept we will understand into different part of the discussion. But right now, Travel API helps you to communicate the data from software A to the software B, and software B can transfer the information to the software A. So that's a very simple layman language, as my concept is always to help you understand the information in an easy way. So that's what it is, travel software, travel API. Now let's understand how does the API actually work. So following the concept, it's basically a data transmission from one software to another software. So if you follow my screen here, it says client sends the request. Now the client is anyways anybody who is actually requires some information. So anybody initiating the request, that become the client. So client is sending the request to the server. Now the server received the request with the help of the API. API received that request. It get processed into the server. Server is nothing else basically where the data and information has been saved, where you are, or you can say software B, where the information is hosted. Then, with the use of logics, a API send the request to a server. Server process that request in terms of understanding what information, because server has a ample information in terms of, let's say, 100 records. Maybe a request is only for 10 records, or maybe a request a record number, a specific record number. So the API will also send the information in terms of what request is needed, what number of record. It will be very defined information. So the server receive that request, it process that, and send back to the response, and then API forward that response to the client back. That's how this loop works on. Request received, it get processed on the server and goes back in the form of API to the client from where the request has come. I hope you got an idea of in terms of how this is been working. It's a very simple concept in an easy way. As a client, you are sending some request to a server. Server receive that request, process that, and whatever information is requested out of the whole database, it will give you those specific 4, 5, 10 requests, whatever request you have asked for. Let's understand. So we understood what is API, how does the API work. Let's understand what are different travel APIs which are. My apologies. I guess that was due to the internet connection. Hi, my apologies. It's just because of the internet connection, the powers went off and the connection got break. So we were on. Let me share my screen again. I guess I lost the share screen as well. Here you go. Okay, so we understood what is Travel API, how does the Travel API work, and let's understand what all the different kind of APIs are there in the market, so that we will be able to choose the right API as per the need of ours. So here we go. If you see, follow my screen now. In general, for your understanding, whatever product we are consuming in the market right now for your business, when it comes to like flight, hotel, car, sightseeing, transfers, packages, bus, rail, insurance, visa, forex, these are the different popular categories, travel services basically. So every travel service have the API which can be get consumed, and these are the traditional APIs, right? So any supplier with whom you want to work, they will be offering the APIs. Those could be directly connected API with the supplier or consolidators, be it flight, hotel, car, sightseeing. They are popular names in the market as well. So that become a typical travel APIs which are available for different services. Now let's understand what are the different categories. So there are some other categories as well, while which can be also helpful for your business. I mean, you consume them on a day-to-day basis as well, but maybe you might not have heard about them. So the different categories, other categories comes into the complete travel ecosystem. NDC integration API, though it also comes in flight, but the idea is NDC integration is a new API. So maybe you have a flight supplier, but on top of that, you can have an NDC supplier integrations as well. Hotel suppliers you have, but you might need, when you're going into a big business and you have multiple suppliers, then you also need a hotel mapping API. There are suppliers, companies already available in the market and captured in this. I hope you might have seen into my mapping session, which I connected earlier. Hotel rebooking API, a very good concept here. You are working on API. There are companies who will be keep checking the price, because price always goes ups and down. As soon as the price is down, let's say you have booked a hotel for $1,000, right? And the API, this particular rebooking system, will be keep checking your prices for different suppliers. And if they find the same hotel for the same dates on some other supplier on a cheaper price, they will release your hotel, book the cheaper price, and make you the more revenue as a travel business. So that's also one of the very good concept which can help in the form of an API. Business travel expense API, as you know, travel expense is one of the major part when it comes to corporate travel and TNC. In the TNC business, these APIs are also helpful. Review and rating API, in the travel business, we need to make sure that wherever our people and guests are traveling, if there is an option for them to have a review and ratings about the destination, hotel, etc., it helps. So those are all data is possible with the help of these other categories of APIs, which is very helpful for you to utilize the content and a better content. So that was the other category of API. Now let's understand how you can connect to those APIs. It's a very simple two-way process. I mean, like two possibilities are there to connect an API. One is a direct connection. Any supplier itself, you were talking about direct airlines or direct hotels, or the supplier itself has the inventory which is consolidated. So this is a direct connection API, we call it. And then another one is a third party connection. So what the company itself has done and connected with multiple APIs into one tech, and then they produce a single API. Be very easy for you rather than going each and every API on a connection basis. What do? You connect a one consolidated API and your job is done. So it saves a lot of time. Of course, those organizations who are offering you on consolidated API, they charge some money, maybe as a service fee, transaction fee, or maybe they make money on the business which they're sharing with you. So that becomes the process of how you can connect the API if you want to have the connection. Let's understand the different selection process. Now comes to the point. So we have understood what is Travel API, how does this function, and what are the different categories of Travel API in the market, and how we can connect to that API. Let's understand what is the whole selection process. So what I have done is there are multiple use cases are there. Some of them I have actually understood as per my interaction with different travel agencies, is where, sorry, the first thing comes to a strategic alignment. It all depends on the idea of, we will discuss each and every selection process in detail as well. So it's on a strategic alignment. What is your plan? Which market you want to go? Where you want to target? That's how it comes. Then it comes a cost consideration. Cost in terms of to acquire that API, maybe to connect the API on the technical aspects, etc. Timeline, how much time it will take to implement, how much time it will take to connect. A lot of things comes in that way over there. So, hello. Just a minute. I guess it's power has some issue today. Yeah, timeline. And then it comes to benefits. What kind of benefit they are proposing and sharing with you in terms of the commercial benefit, commissions, or the incentive plans, what kind of plan they have, payment flexibility. When I need to make a payment, what flexibility the travel APIs company is offering. And then lastly, but again, important one, the technical specification, how technically strong the company is while they are offering that tech and API to you. So let's go further and understand. The first topic is about the strategic alignment. In the strategic alignment, as a selection process, there are 3 points which I've understood. Is the first most is, what is the target market in terms of city and country you are thinking to target. Of course, you need to make sure that if you're targeting Europe market, if you're targeting Middle East or maybe Indian market, as a strategy of your travel business, the supplier to whom you're going to select, he should have the contract and major contract from that particular country. So if he has more inventory from that country, it means that's the right supplier. Or you can say, in that case, you need to, let's say, if you want to target India, you should have a direct connection and you should look for a big player, a company who has a good inventory from the Indian market. A local player will be the right approach in this case. Then it goes to the second approach, which is the audience. What is the kind of audience you're targeting? You're targeting luxury segment, you're targeting the people who actually visit the 5-star category hotels, or you're targeting people who want to go for adventure. According to the preferences of your client, also you need to choose the inventory. If their supplier is primarily focused on the 5-star category, or maybe the supplier has the more beach hotel categories of hotels, that's something you also need to look for. Preferences of your desired customer to whom you want to serve. Third and most important one is, how many number of properties are there. The more number of property is one category, like overall how many number of properties are there, this is one. But in the same time, considering your target market, your client preferences, what supply, which supplier is offering you the right and more inventory. So that's very important on that part. Let's go further. In terms of, this is one strategic alliances. Second comes to the, let me just go for a minute. Yeah. Second comes to the travel API selection on the cost consideration. So if you see, and this image is a very right example over here. And when it comes to the travel API selection cost, it's all looks green. So once you get the benefit and all, it's wonderful. But we need to make sure three important points: cost to buying the API, because every API supplier who is going to offer you an API, they're going to charge you some money. So you need to make sure the money which you're going to pay is what the money which you're going to pay compared to the other supply, comparison with the multiple other suppliers. Second comes to cost of API integration, because it's not only buying the API from the supplier, but it's also what is the cost going to come in terms of integrating that API into your tech or technology. Because if you have enough technology, obviously there will be some time which you need to spend on the uh, uh, integration with your team. In the same time, you also, if there is a third party tech company from where you are buying this, you need to give the money for that particular tech company as well. This becomes second. And third, which is a hidden statement when it comes to an API, there is something called look to book ratio, LTB, look to book ratio. It's very simple. Look to book ratio is nothing else. It is when people are searching, so it's a tech, so every time the people come online, not every time they are buying. So, and you also know that when you are searching for some hotel, you will search at least 10-20 hotels, and then you might book and you might not book. So idea is very simple: how many times the people are looking for the property versus they're booking the property. So there is a cost for look to book ratio, which you need to make sure always ask from your API supplier, what is the look to book ratio you going to charge to me. So in case of B2C, it's going to cost you because their look to book ratio will be very minimum. I mean, like more people will be looking, but booking will be very less versus the look. Whereas in the B2B environment, the ratio will be very less. I mean, like it will be more, if 10 time you are searching or 20 time you're searching or 100 time you're searching, you'll be able to book for sure. So that's what is the look to book ratio when it comes to a selection. Second point, cost consideration. Then comes to time to get started the business. Now, I mean, how much time it takes to onboard any API in terms of your business. So the first important thing is sometimes it takes a lot of paperwork is needed. So bigger suppliers takes more time. I don't want to name anyone, but the idea is very simple. The bigger the supplier is, their documentation, bank guarantee, processes, references, these things takes time over there. So you need to find out what is their work process, what are the documentation needed, bank guarantees and other financial collaterals are needed. The second is a go live with the supplier. I mean, how much time in typically your technical company, technology company, or your internal team is going to take when it comes to the making this particular product online. Go live means the connection is completed, search results are coming, and people will be able to book. If people means your team and your client to whom you want to give in B2C or maybe in the B2B environment. Now comes to the benefits. What kind of commission structures and other things benefits are offered by your API company or their supply? So it's, as I said, it could be a margins and commission, fixed benefit or flat benefit. So they're saying, okay, every time when the transaction happen, I'll give you this much of money. It could be fixed, or it could be a flat fee I'm going, or maybe 10% or something like that commission will be coming up, or 1%, 2% commission comes. Important is we also need to make sure, is it a slab based benefit? Means if as I'm growing my business, so it's not only flat only, but if I'm going on a specific target, I'm talking about 20 million, I'm talking about 40 million. Is it increasing or it's completely over there? So that's also need to see, because as you're working together with them, when you are growing, in the same time your margins are also growing. So that's can be slab wise benefits need to be get clear. And it's not only a specific product, like say when you're talking about hotel, the hotel API service provider is only offering you hotel. Some API provider also offers car, sightseeing, I mean, the other services. It could be tours or transfer. So you need to see if API supplier were 1 versus 2 versus 3, who has more benefits. So if somebody is actually coming into your consideration on the basis of cost and other things are good, and you need to see, okay, one supplier is only giving you a um, just a hotel rate, but the supplier B is giving you car transfers and other rates as well. That could be your preference too. So that was a prefer on the commission side of it. What are the payment terms of the API supplier? So some API suppliers are only offering credit, some are offering deposit, some are offering both, and one method is missing over here. Some are also offering, okay, you need not to give me any deposit or credit. You just make your bookings on the using the credit card. So this become another part of it. What are the payment terms which the supplier is offering to you? Then it comes to technical specification. This is the last one, but the most important one, where you need to make sure, because this whole API thing is about decoding and the technical connection between the software. So you need to make sure that what is the popularity of that particular supplier. So you can actually Google it, or maybe you can check into your network, where you can see that if more and more developers are using that, it means it's in a popular uh, API in the market. There are API marketplace, or you can say consolidators of API, where what they have done is they have actually consolidated all the APIs together. So it become very easy with the proper documentation, with proper information which is needed for any other technical company or a supplier or the software A company to read out that information and correct it into a very easy manner. So you can have the API marketplace, that something can be looked out for that API which you're looking. Documentation. Some companies are very, I mean, again, some means the companies who are confident and who has actually worked on that, their documentations are available openly, which you can actually uh, read out that and do that. So this is basically Expedia is, for instance, allows you to try its public API right in the documentation section. You can just read it online and can use that. There's some other companies, they give and share on request. So you need to be sure how that process is. Customization is also another one. Now it comes to a standard compliances as well. You need to see that you need to check, your developer basically need to check that the REST and SOAP compliances, SOAP and REST, REST and SOAP standard compliances are actually met, which is the developer job. But you need to make sure that that API has been following those standards and compliance of the API development. Then it comes to a consideration of the customization. Do the customer API is customizable, or it is actually set for them? So most of you use the entire bundle, or you can use a specific data records that you want to retrieve that information. So that is something is possible now. Amadeus, Sabre, they are very well organized for their customization potential. Limitation is basically, is it these things could be regional, language based, or maybe partnership relation limitation, that where they might not to want to work with you. Like most of the API provider will provide that particular information, and so that your support team and other informations can be get exchanged with each other. So these are the typical technical specification which you need to be sure while you go for an API selection. So these were all quick information, end of the day for now, where I shared you the information like what is API, how it works, what are different APIs, and how you can select the best API. A very informative, quick session. I hope you were able to understand and get the information which is useful for you. Let's connect again for the next session. So, however, today I have completed all my 9 discussion. I'll be again starting this live session hopefully after a week, because I really want to keep giving this information again and again for the industry. If you have missed it, in the coming sessions, you'll be able to understand travel technology pillars, white label blueprint, how does the white label industry work, what are the travel API selection formula, meta engine business, loyalty program, extranet, dynamic packaging, and NDC in detail. Thank you, everyone. Stay in touch, and let's connect again into the next session online, which will be I'll be doing soon. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Once again, thanks for your time today. Before you go off, please give it a like, subscribe, and turn on notification to get updates about my latest sales training videos. You can also like my social media pages on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Links are given below in the description. Also, don't forget to register for my upcoming webinar, and I will be seeing you live during the webinar. The webinar registration link will be below, or visit my website, vivekkathiriya.com, to complete the registration for webinar. Thank you and see you live.